Hi everybody, welcome to Unit 1, Video 2. If you do not have your Show Me What You Can Do notes, please pause the video and go get them now. All right, so let's take a look at what we're here. We have topic 5. I can translate word sentences into equations and solve the equations. For numbers 15 through 18, please define a variable, write an equation, and solve. It may help to draw a diagram. All right, so each of the base angles of an isosceles triangle has a measure that is 30 degrees less than the measure of the vertex angle. Find the measure of each angle. All right, so the key words in this one are isosceles triangle. So remember, an isosceles triangle is a triangle, so it's not a very good looking triangle. There we go, where two sides are the same, which means their base angles are also the same or congruent. And it's saying the vertex angle would be this angle right here. This is the vertex angle. Okay, so we want to say this. Each of the base angles of an isosceles triangle has a measure that is 30 less than the measure of the vertex angle. Well, I don't know what the vertex angle is, so I'm going to say let x equal vertex angle. Oops. And I'm just going to abbreviate with the angle sign. And it says each of the base angles of a triangle has a measure that is 30 less than the measure of the vertex angle. So x minus 30 is going to equal 1 base angle. Because remember, there's 2 base angles. So I'm going to go ahead and solve this equation. Well, what I know about the angles of a triangle, they all have to add up to 180 degrees, and there's 3 of them. So I have the vertex angle, so x, plus I have 2 base angles, so 2 times x minus 30, and those all together need to equal 180. So then I'm going to distribute here, so I get x plus 2x minus 60 equals 180. I'm going to combine my like terms, so I get 3x minus 60 equals 180. I'm going to add 60 to both sides, so I'm going to get 3x equals 240. I'm going to divide each side by 3. 3. It's not a very good 3, so divide by 3, and I get x equals 80. All right, so that means that I now need to solve for the base angles. So one base angle is x minus 30, so I'm going to plug that in. So 80 minus 30, which means 50. So I'm going to write my answer as a sentence. The measure, if this will come out, the measure of the vertex angle is 80 degrees, and each base angle is 50 degrees. All right. Okay, so why don't you pause the video and you try to set up and solve number 16. Okay, so let's see how you did. Remember, you have to define all your variables. When you read the equation, the one you knew the least about was the first angle. So that's why I said x is the first angle. Then we knew something about the second angle. It was twice the measure of the first, so 2x is equal to the second angle. And the measure of the third angle is 5 degrees more than 4 times the measure of the first. So the first angle is 4x plus 5. All right, so here's my equation. Again, the triangles add to 180. So when I solve for x, I got 25, which meant the measure of the first angle is 25 degrees, the second angle is 50, and the third angle is 105. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at number 17 here. So we have Mary invested $9,000 in stocks and bonds. The stocks paid 5% and the bonds paid 8%, giving an annual income of $525. How much did she invest in bonds? Okay, so I'm gonna start by saying I'm gonna choose x. Let x equal amount, oops, invested in stocks, and Y is the amount invested in bonds. Okay, so we have my X and my Y. So the first thing I have here is Mary invested $9,000 in stocks and bonds. Okay, so I don't know how much is invested in stocks. I don't know how much is invested in bonds, but I know together it's $9,000. So my first equation is X plus Y equals 9,000. Okay, now the second equation is the stocks paid 5% and the bonds paid 8%, giving an annual income of $525. So I don't know how much you invested, but I know that it paid 5%. The stocks paid 5%. So that means 0.05x plus the bonds gave her a return of 8%, so 0.08y. And together from that, she earned interest of $525. Okay, so now this type of problem, you could solve it using substitution or elimination because you have two equations with both the X and the Y. You choose whichever one you think is easier. I personally think, for this problem, substitution is easier. So I'm going to get either X or Y by itself. In this case, I'm going to choose to get Y by itself. So I get Y equals 9,000 minus X. And I'm going to take that and plug it into the second equation. So that's going to look like this. 0.05x plus 0.08 times 9,000 minus x equals 525. All right, so now I need to go ahead and distribute. All right, so when I distribute this so I get 0.05x plus 720 minus 0.08x equals 525. All right, so I need to combine these like terms here. So 0.05x and minus 0.08x. I'm going to do my work over here. So I get negative 0.03x plus 720 equals 525. So I'm going to subtract 720 from both sides. So then I get negative 0.03x. And 525 minus 720 gives me a negative 195. And then I'm going to divide each side by a negative 0.03. And when I divide them both by negative 0.03, I'm going to get x equals 6,500. All right, but it says how much did she invest in bonds? And bonds is the y value. So that means in order to get y, I need to say y equals 9,000 minus 6,500. So when I do that, I get y equals 2,500. So you can answer it in the form of sentence. She invested $2,500 in bonds. All right. Okay, so I want you to go ahead and pause the video, and I want you to try number 18. Okay, so let's go ahead and see how you did. So remember, we wanted to define our variables. X is the smaller number, Y is the larger number. And it said the sum of the two numbers was 64, so X plus Y equals 64. And it said twice the smaller number is 10 less than the larger number. So 2x equals y minus 10. Now at this point, you could have used substitution or elimination. Either would have worked. I chose to try elimination because on the other one I tried substitution, so I just wanted to show you how to do it with elimination. So remember, elimination, you want the x's and the y's on both sides of the equal sign and the constant on the other. So I subtracted y, and when I subtracted y here, it turned it into 2x minus y equals negative 10. So then when I stack them on top of each other to eliminate, the y's canceled out. So I got 3x equals 54, divide each side by 3, x equals 18. Then I plugged it back in to solve for y, and I got y equals 46. So the smaller number is 18, and the larger number is 46. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the next types of word problems that we're going to do. So topic number 6 here says, I can translate word sentences into inequalities and solve the inequalities. For numbers 19 through 22, please define a variable, write an inequality, and solve. All right, so remember, with inequalities, that means you have a range of answers now, not just one exact answer. So let's go ahead and look at what we have. Sam has $500 in a savings account at the beginning of the summer. He wants to have at least $200 in the account at the end of summer. He withdraws $25 each week for food and movie tickets. How many weeks can Sam withdraw money from his account? So I'm going to start by defining the variable. Let x equal number of weeks. And you could put that Sam could withdraw money from his account, but I'm just going to, for lack of space, say number of weeks. Okay, Sam has $500 in the savings account at the beginning of the summer. So he starts with $500. He wants to have at least $200 in the account at the end of the summer. He withdraws, he takes money out each week. So he takes money out. So I'm going to say minus $25 each week, so 25x. And he wants to have at least $200. All right, so at least, so greater than or equal to. So we have 500 minus 25x is greater than or equal to 200. All right, let's go ahead and solve this inequality. So the first thing here is I'm going to subtract 500 from both sides. So I get negative 25x is greater than or equal to negative 300. Then I'm going to divide each side by negative 25, negative 25. But remember, you have to remember your rules of inequalities. When you divide by a negative, remember, it's going to affect the inequality sign. You need to flip the sign. So now I get x is less than or equal to negative 300 divided by negative 25 is going to give me a positive 12. So it means x is less than or equal to 12. So how many weeks can Sam withdraw his money from his account? He can draw, so if we write a sentence, he can withdraw money for, we can say he can withdraw money for no more than 12 weeks. So he can withdraw money for no more than 12 weeks. Or you could have said he can withdraw money for at most 12 weeks. So he can't go over 12 weeks. All right, let's take a look at the next problem here. It's saying find all sets of 3 consecutive even integers whose sum is between 225 and 250. All right, it wants all sets. That means we're probably going to have more than one set of answers. And 3 consecutive even integers. So you have to go back to what you know about even or just consecutive integers and then even and odd integers. So, and consecutive even integers would be an example would be like 10, 12, 14, okay? So I'm going to start with this. Let x equal first even integer. All right, so if I have x is my first integer, then I'm going to have x plus 2 is equal to my second, and x plus 4 is equal to my third. Because remember, again, it was like 10, 12, 14, or 20, 22, 24. Okay, and their sum is between 225 and 250. That means the lowest over here would be 225 is less than the sum, so x plus 2 plus x plus 4, which is less than 250 because it's in between these two numbers. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and simplify. I have 225 is less than 3x plus 6, which is less than 250. All right, so now I need to solve, but where you need to be careful is you have two inequality signs. So when you subtract the 6, you actually have to subtract it from the right and from the left-hand side. So you have to do it from both. So when you subtract it here, you're going to get 219 is less than 3x, which is less than 244. And then we need to get the x by itself. So we're going to divide each side by 3. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and write that over here. 219 divided by 3 is going to give me 73, which is less than x, which is less than 244 divided by 3 is 81.3, repeating. Okay, so now it's saying find all sets of 3 consecutive integers. Well, remember, x is the first integer, even integer. So the first even number or integer that would fit in between here for x would be 74. 73 is less than 74, which is less than 81.3. So 74, because that was the first term. And then the next one would be 76, 78. Because it's the set of 3. So these are the first set. And remember, we're only concerned about x, the first integer. So let's see if another number would make this true. And the next even number would be 76. Well, that's still a true statement. 73 is less than 76, which is less than 81.3. So that means if x, the first integer, is 76, then I'd have 78 and 80. All right, let's see if there's another number for x that would work. Well, 78 would work. 73 is less than 78, which is less than 81. So again, x stands for only the first one. So that means 80 and 82 would be in that set of 3 numbers. Let's see, is there another one that would work? Well, yeah, 80 could work. 73 is less than 80, which is less than 81.3. So 80, 82, and 84. Now let's see, are there any more that would satisfy this and make this true? Well, 82. 73 is less than 82, which is less than 81. Not a true statement. So 82 would not work. So that means the set of answers that would make this true would be those 4 sets of answers. Okay, so what I want you to do right now is I want you to pause the video and I want you to try number 21. And remember, when you're doing 21, it's saying to obtain an average. So try to think about, how do you find an average? Okay, so let's see how you did. So remember, to find the average, you have to add them all up and divide by however many you have. So in this case, you have 5 tests because you have the first 4 plus x or the next test. And she wants to get at least an 80. All right, so remember, you need to add all these together. So 317 plus x divided by 5. You need to get rid of the denominator, so you have to multiply 5 to both sides, which gives us 317 plus x equals 400. And then to solve for x, we're going to subtract 317 from both sides. So you get x equals 83, which means x is greater than or equal to 83. So she needs an 83 or higher on the next exam. And I shouldn't have written an equal sign here. I really should have left it as an inequality. So it should say x is greater than or equal to, and x is greater than or equal to. So sorry, it's not an equal sign, it's an inequality sign. All right, so she needs an 83 or higher on the next exam. Okay, so let's take a look at this next one. And it's saying the length of a rectangle is 4 centimeters longer than the width, and the perimeter is at least 48 centimeters. What are the smallest possible dimensions for the rectangle? Okay, so the key word in this one is perimeter. So you have to think, how do you find a perimeter? All right, so I want you to pause the video, and I want you to try this one. Okay, so let's see how we did this with this one. So I put x equals width, x plus 4 equals length, and remember, perimeter is 2L plus 2W. So I did 2 times the length, so 2 times x plus 4, plus 2 times the width, 2x, is greater than or equal to 48 because it's at least 48. So when I solved it, I got x is greater than or equal to 10. So that means the smallest possible dimensions they want for the rectangle, it's saying x can be equal to 10. So it means the smallest possible width is 10 centimeters. So the smallest possible width is 10 centimeters. All right, and then if you were to plug 10 in here for the length, 10 plus 4 would give you 14. So that means, and the smallest length is 14 centimeters. All right, so the smallest possible width is 10 centimeters, and the smallest length is 14 centimeters. All right, well, thanks for watching video number 2.